Hi, everyone. Welcome back to God's Whispers, a place where we take the time to pause and reflect on the word of the Lord. Today I'm going to be speaking about the memorial of Our Lady of Sorrows, which focuses on the Gospel according to John, chapter 19, verses 25 through 27, where Mary's at the foot of the cross. It's a short passage, but it carries deep meaning, not only for Mary, but for us. And when we look at the tradition of the 7 sorrows of Mary, we can start to understand how our entire life was marked with both suffering and faith. So when I looked up what the memorial of the Lady of Sorrows meant, it dates back to the 13th century. And it focused on Mary's unique participation in the suffering of Christ. Obviously not as a passive bystander, but as a mother who loved her son and his mission. The gospel reading takes place at Calvary. In the ancient world, crucifixion was meant to isolate and terrify, yet Mary stayed. This fulfills Simeon's prophecy in Luke chapter 2, verse 35. A sword will pierce your soul too. Mary's presence at the cross wasn't only about sorrow, it was about strength. From the cross, Jesus gave her to John, and by tradition to all of us. Behold your mother. This is why we honor her as our spiritual mother. The church long spoke about Mary's life through her sorrow. Those 7 sorrows, according to what I've read, the prophecy of Simeon that I just mentioned, where he spoke about the sword, then the flight into Egypt, where the Holy Family fled from Herod's violence, then the loss of her child, Jesus, at the temple, 3 days of anxiously searching for him. Then when Mary meets Jesus on the way to Calvary, when he obviously was carrying the cross, then the crucifixion and his death, where she's staying at the cross, obviously in her deepest sorrow. Then the body of Jesus placed in her arm, where she held him one last time. And then the burial of Jesus when she was at the tomb. So these sorrows remind us that Mary's faith was not easy. It was tested through loss, fear, and grief, and yet she never turned away from God. So how does this matter to us today? Because Mary's story kind of gives us permission to bring our own sorrows to God. Faith doesn't mean that we're going to be avoiding suffering. It means that we're going to face suffering with God right next to us. Mary shows us how to grieve but still have hope, how to remain faithful when everything feels lost, and how to be with others in their pain even when we can't fix it. Sometimes I think in our world, we often try and run away from sorrow. And Mary teaches us how to walk through it with courage and compassion. So some journal prompts would be, which of the 7 sorrows can I relate to most right now? And how do I respond to suffering? By running from it or by standing with God in it? And who in my life is experiencing sorrow, and how can I be present for them? And then finally, what does it mean for me to welcome Mary as a spiritual mother in my own journey? I didn't really know much about the memorial of the Lady of Sorrows, but I'm realizing that it's not just about pain, it's about love. Mary's sorrow brings us closer in our own struggles. At the cross, she became a mother not just to Jesus, but our mother too. So when we bring our sorrows to her, she leads us closer to Jesus. I hope this message was encouraging to you. And if you feel like a friend could use some encouragement, please feel free to pass it along. And don't forget to subscribe so you can continue to hear God's whispers.